What if I told you that the reason he doesn't call, the reason he pulls away, the reason he seems distant, has nothing to do with you not being enough? What if the real problem is that you've been too much of what he thinks he wants and not enough of who you truly are? Today, I'm going to share with you 3 psychological secrets that Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in human psychology, discovered about attraction, desire, and the masculine psyche. These are not tricks. These are not games. These are ancient truths about how the human soul works. Truths that have been hidden in plain sight for over a century. And I promise you, by the end of this message, you will understand why some women become absolutely unforgettable to men, while others, no matter how beautiful, how successful, how perfect they try to be, are somehow always forgotten. And here's something else. I will reveal a 4th secret that Jung discovered, something so powerful that I deliberately left it out of the title. This 4th principle doesn't just make a man call you, it transforms you into the kind of woman who naturally attracts her true counterpart, the one who recognizes your worth without you having to prove anything. For over 2 decades, I've worked as a relationship therapist, and I've witnessed something that breaks my heart again and again. Brilliant, accomplished, deeply beautiful women shrinking themselves, hiding their truth, playing small, all to make a man feel comfortable. Women who could light up entire rooms dimming their own light because they were afraid of being too much, too intense, too emotional, too complex, too real. And the tragic irony, the very thing they were hiding, their fullness, their depth, their complexity, that was exactly what would have made them irresistible. I've also seen the opposite. Women who seemed ordinary by society's shallow standards. Women with grey hair and laugh lines. Women with complicated pasts and uncertain futures, becoming absolute magnets for men who couldn't stop thinking about them, couldn't stop pursuing them, couldn't imagine life without them. These women weren't perfect, they were whole, and Carl Jung understood exactly why this matters. Jung spent his entire life studying the human psyche, and he discovered something revolutionary. He found that attraction doesn't happen at the surface level. It happens in the depths, in the unconscious, in the hidden parts of ourselves that we rarely acknowledge. And when a woman understands these depths, when she stops performing and starts being, everything changes. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you showed a man all of who you are? Not the polished version, not the carefully curated performance, but the real you, the one with contradictions and complexity, with darkness and light, with softness and strength all mixed together. If you can't remember, that might be exactly why he isn't calling. Because what Jung discovered is this: men are not attracted to perfection. They are attracted to wholeness. And there is a massive difference between the two. Carl Jung introduced a concept that changed psychology forever. He called it the shadow. And understanding this single idea will completely transform how you show up in relationships and how men respond to you. The shadow is every part of you that you've learned to hide. Your anger, your desires, your wildness, your sadness, your intensity, your ambition, your sexuality. All the pieces of yourself that, somewhere along the way, someone told you were too much, not ladylike, not appropriate, not acceptable. So you buried them. You learned to smile when you wanted to scream, to stay quiet when you wanted to speak, to be gentle when you felt fierce, to shrink when you wanted to expand. And slowly, piece by piece, you became a fragment of yourself, a carefully edited version designed to be palatable, pleasant, easy to digest. And here's what Jung understood that most people miss. When you hide your shadow, when you present only the acceptable parts of yourself, you become predictable, flat, one-dimensional, like a painting with only one color. Men sense this incompleteness, even if they can't name it. Their unconscious recognizes that you're not showing your full self, and something inside them pulls back. Because here's the truth about masculine psychology that Jung discovered. Men are not attracted to women who are always pleasant, always agreeable, always easy. Deep in their unconscious, they are drawn to women who are complete, women who contain multitudes, women who are both sanctuary and storm, both peace and passion, both light and mystery. Think about the most captivating women you know, the ones men can't stop thinking about. They're not the ones who never show anger or never express strong opinions. They're the ones who are unapologetically themselves, who can be tender one moment and fierce the next, who can laugh deeply and also speak their truth even when it's uncomfortable, who can be vulnerable and also set boundaries that cannot be crossed. That is shadow integration, and it is magnetic. Let me tell you about a woman I worked with. She was a marketing executive, always composed, always professional, always the perfect girlfriend. She never raised her voice, never expressed frustration, never showed any of what she called her negative emotions. She thought this made her attractive. Instead, after 2 years, her partner told her he felt like he was living with a stranger, like he didn't really know her at all. We started working on shadow integration. I asked her to stop performing, to let him see her anger when she felt it, to express her desires without apologizing, to show her intensity, her passion, even her occasional darkness. She was terrified. She thought he would leave. The opposite happened. Within weeks, he became more engaged, more present, more interested than he had been in months. He told her, "I finally feel like I'm seeing the real you." And for the first time, she felt truly desired, not for who she pretended to be, but for who she actually was. This is the power of the shadow. When you stop hiding it, when you integrate all parts of yourself, you become psychologically whole. And wholeness is the most attractive quality a human being can possess. But let me be clear, integrating your shadow doesn't mean being cruel or destructive. It doesn't mean lashing out or being chaotic. It means allowing yourself to feel and express the full range of human emotion. It means showing up as a complete person, with light and dark, strength and vulnerability, certainty and doubt. Jung believed that our shadow contains not just our darkness, but also our unexpressed power, our buried creativity, our hidden magnificence. When you reclaim these parts, you don't just become more attractive to men, you become more alive to yourself. So here's what I want you to do. Start small. The next time you feel anger, don't immediately smooth it over with a smile. Express it clearly and calmly. The next time you have a strong opinion that differs from his, speak it. The next time you want something in the bedroom, in the relationship, in life, say it without apologizing. Watch what happens. Watch how his attention shifts. Watch how his respect deepens. Watch how he starts to see you not as a pleasant background character in his life, but as a fascinating, complex, complete woman he cannot afford to lose. Because when you embody your shadow, you become unpredictable in the best possible way. He can never fully figure you out, never completely anticipate you, never take you for granted. And that uncertainty, that sense that there is always more to discover, keeps his mind coming back to you again and again. Now we move into something even deeper, something that Jung considered one of his most important discoveries: the concept of archetypes, particularly the feminine archetype, what Jung called the anima from the masculine perspective. Jung discovered that buried deep in the unconscious mind of every man is an image of the ideal feminine. Not a specific woman, but an energy, a presence, a quality that his soul recognizes and is irresistibly drawn toward. This isn't about physical appearance. It's about archetypal energy. And when a woman learns to embody her unique feminine archetype authentically, she becomes magnetic in a way that bypasses logic and speaks directly to a man's unconscious. The problem is that many women today have been taught to abandon their feminine archetypal energy. We've been told that femininity is weakness, that to be strong we must be more masculine, that our unique feminine qualities don't matter in a world that values only achievement and control. So we've learned to push harder, to compete on masculine terms, to suppress the very energy that makes us irreplaceable. And then we wonder why men seem distant, why they don't pursue us with passion, why they treat us like colleagues instead of women they desperately want to be close to. Jung understood something crucial. The masculine psyche is wired to respond to authentic feminine energy, not performed femininity, not fake softness, but real, archetypal feminine presence. And here's the beautiful part. Every woman has her own unique archetypal signature. You don't have to be the same as anyone else. Some women embody the archetype of the maiden, full of curiosity, playfulness, and fresh energy. Others are the queen, regal, discerning, commanding respect. Some are the mother, nurturing, creating safe space for others to grow. Others are the wise woman, seeing through illusions, speaking truth that others are afraid to voice. Your power is not in trying to be all of these at once. Your power is in discovering which archetype flows most naturally through you, and then expressing it fully, without apology, without holding back. Let me tell you what this looks like in practice. I worked with a woman who had been trying to be everything to her partner: sexy, nurturing, independent, vulnerable, playful, serious, all at the same time. She was exhausted, and he was confused. He couldn't feel who she really was underneath all the performance. We did archetypal work together, and she discovered that her natural energy was the wise woman. She had this incredible gift for seeing patterns, for understanding people's hidden motivations, for speaking truth with compassion. But she had been hiding it because she thought it was too intense, too serious, not feminine enough. I encouraged her to stop hiding, to let her archetype shine, to become the woman who could see through his confusion and reflect back his own truth to him, to be the one who could illuminate his path when he was lost. The transformation was stunning. He started coming to her not just for companionship, but for clarity, for insight, for a perspective he couldn't find anywhere else. She became irreplaceable to him, not because she was perfect at everything, but because she was extraordinary at one thing. She gave him something no one else could give, a mirror to his own soul. That is archetypal power. That is what Jung meant by the anima. When you embody your unique feminine archetype, you create an emotional experience in a man that is absolutely unique. You become the woman he thinks about when he's alone, the one he wants to call when something important happens, the one whose absence he feels like a physical ache. And here's the secret. Your archetypal energy must come from authenticity, not strategy. You cannot fake this. If you try to perform an archetype that isn't naturally yours, he will sense the inauthenticity and pull away. But when you express your true archetypal nature, it flows effortlessly. It doesn't drain you. It energizes you. So how do you discover your archetype? Pay attention to what people consistently say about you. Not surface compliments, but deep observations. You always make me feel safe. You challenge me to grow. You help me see things differently. You remind me to have fun. These are clues to your archetypal signature. Also notice when you feel most alive, most in flow, most yourself. Those moments reveal your archetype, and once you know it, cultivate it. If you're the maiden, embrace playfulness and curiosity. If you're the queen, own your standards and your discernment. If you're the wise woman, speak your truth without softening it. And here's something crucial that many women miss. Your archetypal gift must not be constantly available. Even the most beautiful garden loses its magic if someone can walk through it anytime without thought. Your archetypal energy is precious. Give it when it flows naturally from you, when he truly needs it, when the moment is right. This creates what Jung called numinous experiences, moments that feel almost sacred, that leave a deep impression on his unconscious. These are the moments he will return to in his mind again and again. These are the experiences that make you unforgettable. Before we continue to the third step, I want to pause for just a moment. If you're finding value in what we're exploring here, if Jung's wisdom is opening new doors in your understanding, then please subscribe to my channel. I share deep psychological insights like this regularly, and I don't want you to miss them. It takes just a second, and it helps me continue bringing you this kind of content. Now we come to what Jung considered perhaps his most important concept, and the one that will completely change how you approach relationships. He called it individuation. And understanding this single principle will make you more attractive to quality men than anything else you could ever do. Individuation is the process of becoming whole unto yourself, of developing a complete psychological life that doesn't depend on anyone else for its meaning or value, of being so fulfilled, so rich in your own inner world that a relationship becomes a choice, not a need. And here's the paradox that Jung discovered, and it's absolutely crucial you understand this. True union with another person is only possible through separation, through maintaining your own distinct psychological identity, through refusing to dissolve yourself into someone else. Most women do the opposite. When they care about a man, they merge. They make him the center of their universe. They organize their entire life around his schedule, his needs, his preferences. They become constantly available, always accommodating, endlessly flexible. They think this is love. They think this is what makes them valuable to him. But Jung understood that this is actually what destroys attraction. Because when you lose yourself in someone else, when you have no separate identity, when you're always available, always predictable, always orbiting around him, you stop being a whole person. You become an extension of him. And men cannot be attracted to their own reflection. The male psyche is wired to pursue what is separate, distinct, whole in itself. Think about it. Men are drawn to women who have their own passions, their own purpose, their own full life. Not because men are selfish, but because wholeness recognizes wholeness. A man who is on his own journey of individuation is magnetically drawn to a woman who is on hers. This is why strategic presence and absence work so powerfully, not as manipulation, but as a natural result of having a life so full and meaningful that you cannot possibly be always available. When you are genuinely engaged in your own growth, your own projects, your own friendships, your own purpose, your limited availability becomes authentic. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. I worked with a woman who had been in a relationship for 4 years. Every evening, she waited for his call. Every weekend revolved around his plans. She had slowly let her friendships fade, stopped pursuing her creative projects, abandoned her goals. Her entire identity had become his girlfriend. And predictably, he had become distant, taking her completely for granted, sometimes not calling for days, showing less and less interest. She was desperate, trying harder and harder to get his attention, which only pushed him further away. I introduced her to Jung's concept of individuation. I asked her to do something that terrified her, to stop organizing her life around him and start building her own psychological wholeness, to reconnect with old friends, to start the photography project she had abandoned, to sign up for the workshop she had been putting off, to have evenings when she was genuinely unavailable because she was busy with her own life. She was afraid he would leave. Instead, within 3 weeks, everything shifted. He started pursuing her again, calling more, asking questions about what she was doing, wanting to be part of her world. He told her, "I feel like I'm falling in love with you all over again. You seem so alive." That is the power of individuation. When you become whole unto yourself, when you stop needing him to complete you, when your life is rich and full with or without him, you become magnetic. Because you're no longer seeking completion, you're offering companionship between two complete souls. And this creates the perfect psychological dynamic. He doesn't feel burdened with the responsibility of being your everything. He doesn't feel suffocated by constant need. Instead, he feels the thrill of winning the attention of a woman who has many other things she could be doing. Every moment you choose to spend with him becomes a gift, not an obligation. Jung called this union through separation. Two whole people choosing each other, not two halves desperately clinging together. This is the only kind of relationship that can last, the only kind that stays passionate and alive even after years. So here's how you apply this practically. First, build your own psychological life. Invest in yourself with the same energy you've been investing in the relationship. Pursue goals that matter to you. Develop skills that fascinate you. Cultivate friendships that nourish you. Create a life so interesting that you sometimes forget to check your phone. Second, be genuinely unavailable sometimes, not as a tactic, but as a reality. Have evenings when you're busy with your own commitments. Weekends when you've already made plans. Moments when you're so absorbed in your own world that his message waits for a response because you're fully present somewhere else. Third, vary your communication patterns naturally. Sometimes respond immediately because you want to. Sometimes respond later because you are genuinely occupied. Let your availability reflect the natural rhythm of a full, engaged life. And here's what will happen. His mind will start to wonder about you more. What is she doing? Who is she with? What makes her so engaged? This isn't about making him jealous. It's about activating his natural curiosity about a woman who is clearly complete without him. Jung believed that the goal of human life is individuation, becoming fully yourself. And in relationships, this means you complete yourself. He doesn't complete you. He complements you. He enhances an already full life. He adds to your joy, but he is not the source of it. When you embody this truth, when you live from this center of wholeness, you become the kind of woman that conscious, evolved men cannot resist. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you genuinely have something worth getting. A rich, complex, fascinating inner and outer life that he would be privileged to be part of. And now, as promised, the fourth secret that Jung discovered. The one that transforms everything we've talked about from technique into magic. He called it synchronicity. Synchronicity is the concept of meaningful coincidence, the idea that when you align with your true self, when you become psychologically whole, the universe responds. The right people, the right circumstances, the right opportunities appear not by chance, but by an invisible order that Jung believed connected all things. And here's how this applies to love. When you stop chasing men and start becoming whole, when you focus on your own individuation rather than on getting someone to want you, something remarkable happens. The right man appears. Not just any man, but your true counterpart, the one whose unconscious recognizes your wholeness and responds to it at the deepest level. I've seen this happen countless times. A woman stops desperately seeking love and starts building her own life. She integrates her shadow. She embraces her archetypal power. She commits to her own individuation. And suddenly, almost mysteriously, men start appearing. Quality men. Men who are also on their own journey. Men who recognize something in her that they've been searching for without knowing what it was. This is not magic in the supernatural sense. It's psychology at its deepest level. When you are whole, you emanate a different energy. You move through the world differently. You speak differently. You make eye contact differently. And men who are capable of real connection feel this immediately. Jung believed that the unconscious minds of two people can communicate directly, beneath the level of words or conscious interaction. When you are psychologically whole, your unconscious speaks to the unconscious of others. And the right man, the one whose soul is ready for real union, hears that call and responds. So the ultimate secret is this: stop trying to make him call you. Instead, become the woman you were always meant to be. Do the inner work. Face your shadow and integrate it. Discover your archetypal power and express it. Commit to your own individuation and build a life of genuine fullness. And then watch what happens. Watch how the right man appears, how he pursues you with genuine interest, how he recognizes your worth without you having to prove anything. This is synchronicity. This is the law of psychological attraction that Jung spent his life understanding. The 3 steps we've explored today, shadow integration, archetypal embodiment, and individuation. These are not tricks to manipulate a man's behavior. They are invitations to become who you truly are. And when you do that, you don't just make a man call you. You become a woman who naturally attracts her true match, the one who sees you, values you, and chooses you every single day. This is Jung's gift to us, the understanding that real attraction happens at the level of the soul. And when you do the work to become whole, when you stop performing and start being, everything changes. Thank you for being here, for listening, for having the courage to look deeper than surface techniques and into the real psychology of attraction. If this resonated with you, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with any woman who needs to hear these truths. Your journey of individuation starts now, and I promise you, it will transform not just your relationships, but your entire life.